Bring it on. All right, we're headed to Sebring this week in Porsche Cup, and I did a guide for this a while ago, over a year ago. The car has changed quite a bit since then. I'll have the old video linked up here, but I'm going to unlist it at this point because it's kind of, like I said, the car's changed a bit. I was able to get a 203 456 this time after a lot of work. Fast guys are going to be doing 201s, so we're still a bit off of that. I think I have a 202 somewhere hidden in there. That's what the optimal says anyway. But putting it all together, man, it's rough. Lots of spinning out in the practice here, so just be careful when you're driving out there. Be watching the cars ahead of you, see what they're if they're unsettling themselves, and just be able to think ahead about escape routes and that kind of thing. But without further ado, let's show you the fast lap. We'll talk about how we went through it, and then we'll come back here for some final thoughts.
Sector 1 time's okay. Sector 2 time is okay. You've just done a 203.46. Good lap. That's your quickest so far.
All right, Porsche Cup at Sebring, fixed setup. Haven't touched the brake bias or anything like that. Got ourselves a 203 456, and it took some doing. So let's go through it here, flat out through the first straight. We are going to come up over here. We're going to be looking at this kind of yellow line area, and that's going to be where we start to brake. We're pulling the car over as far right as we dare. Don't want to clip the wall here, but we're looking at where this yellow line starts to disappear is kind of where our braking point is. There's some changes in the shape of the wall too that you can use, but that's kind of where we're going to start to brake in a straight line, and then we're going to start to slowly turn in as we decrease the brake pressure. It is so easy to overcook it here. And most of this track, I've had a lot of trouble just kind of keeping things pointed where they need to go. But anyway, we're going to start to, as we've let off the brake pressure slowly to trail brake into the corner, we're going to start feeding a little bit of throttle in as we're approaching here. The cone here is the apex of the corner, so that's a useful marker. Where we're just feeding in the gas a little bit at a time. and just keeping the wheel turned in. It's super bumpy here, so watch out for that. And then we're straightening out the wheel and letting the gas go all the way to 100%. And we're just flooring it here until we hit our next braking point, which is going to be a little bit before the 3 cones here. So we are going to get on, we're going pretty quick, so we're going to hit the brakes pretty hard here. Braking in a straight line, bleeding off our speed as much as we can. And then we're going to start to lift off the brakes and trail brake. And that trail braking gets the front of the car, keeps it planted so that we can get turned in over here, leaving it in third. Just holding that brake pressure to keep the weight of the car on the front. And then as we get around, we're going to start putting in a little bit of throttle. We don't want to mash it because the back end of the car will come around if we do that. So we're just holding that little bit of throttle, and then as we straighten the car out, we can go to 100%. We're turning into the right here, lifting because we're past the point where our grip will let us do that, and we're going to need a brake here pretty soon. We can go back on the throttle just a little bit there. Now we're braking. Hold a little bit of brake pressure, and I kind of pump the brakes here, like I let off a little bit because I felt I overslowed maybe a tiny bit, but we're just put a little bit more brake pressure in, and then we're back on the throttle a little bit. And just holding that partial throttle until we get around the corner. And then we're going to put it the rest of the way down once we get the wheel straightened out. There we go. Wheel straightened out, and we're back on 100%. The big thing here is not to get to 100% when the wheel is too far turned over. That's what we want to avoid, but now we're going full throttle through here. I like, from my braking point, you can probably do where the first set of cones is, but I like to do where the pavement transitions colors. I feel a lot more comfortable braking there. When I brake back here, it's panic mode. So I brake a little where those colors change. Just holding that high brake pressure because we are going fast. We're going to slowly let off. So come down here, we're going to get to first before we are kind of around when we hit the corner here. So we're just slowly downshifting, holding that brake pressure, just slowly letting off on it as we get in. We're in second gear here as we're turning in. And then I think I downshifted there. Just gotta be careful when you're downshifting in a corner. It can cause the car to kick out in a weird way, but we're just holding that little bit of brake pressure, keeping the car a bit in, and then as soon as we start to hit the apex, we can start to put the throttle back in. But again, we've got so much wheel in right now, we can't get all the way on it. So we've got to wait until the wheel gets straightened out, then we can get on it. First gear here, we want to be a little careful with the how quickly we put the throttle in, because it can, with that low gearing, really do a number. But we're going to shift out quick, and then we're just going to hold full throttle as we go through this next set of corners here. Then our next braking zone is going to be where these cones are here. And we're going to hit the brakes pretty hard again. You get a good amount of speed in a lot of these straightaways here. But again, we're just holding those brakes. We start to turn in, we lift off of the brakes. Keep that car bit in. This corner here, I spun out a lot on. Getting on the throttle too quick coming out of it. So I've got to be careful here as far as going to 100% too early. I have a tendency to do that on this corner. I can't count the number of times I did it, but we're waiting until we get the wheel turned out, and then we're going to kind of slowly bring the throttle back to 100% because we're trying to be cautious. Now this next corner here, going through, we're going to be in third. This time I was able to get it down to where I can keep it flat out, but I would before lift a bit right here, and then again when we come around the second corner. Just it was feeling a little loose, so I lifted. And that's one of the things you kind of have to do, is be able to kind of feel with the wheel and the sound and everything when things are starting to get a little loose, and maybe lift 5-10% off the throttle. But we are going to go full throttle into this corner here, And we're gonna start braking in a straight line towards these cones. Once we hit this apex here, we're gonna start braking. And then once we get about here-ish, we're gonna start lifting off the brake a little bit. And just hold that little bit of pressure as we're coming around the corner. It's 5-10%. Then right about here, we're gonna start putting some throttle in. Just hold that little bit of throttle. And then after I got this lap done, I was trying to get a better time. And I kept on overshooting this corner here, trying to go through quicker. So just be careful getting any left wheels in there. If you're full throttle and you hit that, you're spinning over here someplace into the wall. But yeah, we're straightened out enough here so we can go full throttle. Like I said, just left wheels, keep them mostly on the curb there is the goal. But yeah, it's full throttle through here. And we are going to watch for these cones here as we're coming up. We're gonna brake before them, a little bit before the end of this curbing here, I would say is kind of my braking point, maybe around here. So we're gonna brake in a straight line. And then we are going to turn right. Obviously, that's the way the corner goes. We're just holding that little bit of brake pressure. We're going to try and mount this curb here a bit. So we can get over onto this curb and start putting some throttle in. And as we straighten out the wheel, we can put the throttle the rest of the way down. And with this curb here, this corner, like the fact that there's no markers as far as where you go over here is tough for me. I'm pretty inconsistent on this one, but we're letting off the throttle. We're starting to brake. We're just going to hold that little bit of pressure here and start to turn in. We're going to mount the curb on the right here a little bit, and we're going to hold that little bit of brake pressure, start to put some throttle in. You can go a little bit more over, but if you go too far over, you will get a 1.4 second slowdown. It's hard to clear because you got a big long straightaway here, and you want to be carrying as much speed as you can coming out of here. But we're just on that part throttle to come around. This is another easy one to spin at. There's going to be lots of people spinning in this race, but anyway, we're full throttle as we straighten out the wheel. You use all this curb here to come out. Want to get back on the track before the curb ends. Don't get your wheels over in that. And then we are going to brake around the 3 cones here. And I found when I was starting out, I was trying to carry too much speed in the beginning part of this corner, and then I started slowing down a bit more in the beginning, and that helped me, I think, a little bit. So we're just going to slow down and just hold a little bit of brake pressure. We've come off it a little bit. Just keep on slowly letting off that brake pressure at this point. Holding it until we're going to do that until we start to accelerate again. Trying to come back into the right here. Super bumpy out here, so just be careful. You've got to be able to, when you're hitting these bumps, you got to be able to know if one's unsettled the car enough and you need a lift. So that's just something to be aware of. But we're back in the throttle now, about 50%. 50%. That's how math works. We've got a lot of wheel in, so we can't go 100% yet, but we're bringing the wheel out, so now we can go 100% once we get that wheel straightened out. And we've got enough grip at this point where we can just hold it, and we've got a lot of track that we can use on the exit here. Part of that is just learning where the car is going to go once you hit full throttle. Yeah, we're just at full throttle now, and the rest of the way full throttle. We got ourselves a 203 456. So yeah, it took me a while. Don't look and see how many laps I did trying to get that. I was able to get to the 203s fairly quickly. I got a 203.7 pretty early on, but then getting a better one took forever. I ended up just overdriving myself and not able to match my match or exceed my good lap time. So I think we're gonna have to back it off a little bit during the race here, which are coming up. And if I can hit 204s for most of my laps, if I can average something like that, I think I'll be pretty happy. But it's I think gonna be it'll be an interesting week. So yeah, if you want to watch along when we do those races live, head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdownman. And if you like the video, thumbs up. If you didn't, I understand. And if you think I earned it, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Bye.